From their self-titled debut release, that is Skid Row with Sweet Little Sister, a song that definitely probably could not be played in today's environment. Kicking Ass on a Queer.
Oh, yeah, probably say that.
Yeah, you can't say that.
No.
Kicking ass on a queer.
But there's a lot of porn out there that is, brother fucking sister porn.
That's perfectly
There's a good
fine.
amount of that. That's a category now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not that I watch that. It's not my thing. But,
Yeah.
But there is definitely a category of brother fucking sister porn.
Right. All right. Well, apparently our discussions tonight have been very poignant in bringing people, getting people's consciousness to talk to them.
Okay.
We got an email here from our good friend, the metal drummer in the chat room.
Okay.
He says, "Hail and kill, fuckies."
Hello.
Pertaining to the current story, I wholeheartedly agree. Anyone should be able to say anything and fuck anyone who gets offended. Yet this week at a high school that I graduated from, a kid killed himself in the weight room of the school and a teacher found him. It's fucked up that the place where I became a man as an athlete in high school is the place where someone killed themselves over being called nigger or fat or whatever this kid was called. He was a chubby black individual.
Yeah.
What would be the solution to this? Maybe the kid had problems at home and never was taught to stand up for himself, and so being called these things made him kill himself.
Oh, that's 100% what happened. He did not have somebody to teach him to be strong.
Yep. It's fucked up that the room will be torn down and no one will be able to go in there, obviously. I don't know what happened truly because I didn't know him and I wasn't there. But as someone who believes in freedom of speech, especially vile speech that is offensive, what would be a viable solution for this dilemma in today's society?
Okay, that's a simple one to answer. There is no solution to it, because there's no problem with it. There's no problem with it. The problem is not the speech. The problem is the kid that killed himself.
Well, the problem is the upbringing and not having good guidance in the home. People having children that shouldn't be having children and not raising them properly. You know, I know this is boomer talk, but it's been proven again and again that a two-parent household has been the most successful in bringing up children. That doesn't mean children from a two-parent household won't come out fucked up some way, but your chances are greater that you're going to come out a pretty stable, normal person if you have a stable household.
Yeah, well, and again, it's blaming the wrong thing. You're blaming
the speech.
You're blaming the speech and not blaming the kid that offed himself. Sorry, that sucks, but that's just the truth. The kid that killed himself is ultimately responsible for his own life ending.
Yeah, we cannot create a safety net in the entire society to catch these, people who are displaced or not brought up correctly. We cannot bubble wrap society for these people.
Well, the truth is we've tried to do that for the last 20 years, and now what you have is the byproduct of that.
Yeah, weaklings. Everybody's weak now.
Weak kids, weak adults. Everybody needs to be coddled. Everybody needs to have their hand held. Look, no one wants to hear about somebody committing suicide, whether it's a soldier, whether it's a kid, whether it's anybody. Nobody wants to hear about that shit. And people go through some fucked up stuff. But you know what? We've all been through some fucked up stuff. The older you get, you've been through something fucked up. I obviously got fucking burned like a goddamn marshmallow on a stick in a fucking fire. Now, if ever there was anybody that had a reason to commit suicide, I'm the guy. And I ain't gonna even lie and say that I never thought about it. I didn't from the burn accident. I did through the divorce. I was in my backyard ready to fucking take my head off. I was. I sat in the backyard with the gun and I pussied out. That's on me, and if I would have done it, that would have been on me as well. I still wouldn't have blamed my ex-wife or my fucking, kids or whatever the fuck if I would have done it. But we all go through, horrible shit. You had a fucking brother die. That's horrible shit.
It is.
But you didn't go to the closet and grab a gun and kill yourself over it.
No.
You fucking manned up. You felt awful. You cried. and you fucking got through it the way that you do. That's the way everybody is with everything that everybody goes through something. Everybody has a relative that's died of cancer. Everybody has a friend that lost a leg or has been in a nasty car accident or has, been burned in a fire or whatever the fuck it is. And, you just have to suck it up and move forward. The world is shit. Just accept it and fucking be the best you can in this shitty world. That's the only solution. Anything else, trying to find blame, trying to say, well, it's the words and it's the kids. Look, every one of us that were kids, if you ever caused any kind of commotion at all in school, you were called a pussy, you were called a faggot, you were called a bitch. I know I was a million times.
Yep, everybody did.
Everybody did that shit, Somehow we lived through it. I'm not going to say that it was better or worse than anything else. I'm just saying somehow we were able to get through it. Somehow we were able to have a problem with somebody, go out back behind the fence or behind the trees or whatever, beat each other's ass for 10 seconds until we were both too tired to fight anymore, come back into the school, shake hands an hour later, and it was over. We dealt with the shit. That's what we did. The reason that you have so many kids committing suicide today is because they've been raised to not deal with any adversity whatsoever. That's the biggest problem that we have. These kids, the reason they commit suicide is not because the picking on them is any worse than anything has ever been. It's just because they don't have the training that we had. And, for all those people that want to say corporal punishment is bad and getting swats in school is bad and, having a dad that gave you a smack every once in a while is bad. Guess what? We had if you look at the last 50 fucking years, that's a wide enough berth, I would imagine. If you take the last 50 years of time, you will see that with every weakening of discipline for the kids, more problems arose.
That's
more
true.
Crime, more suicide, more everything. I'm going to guess we're at our all-time highest with suicide, with crime, with small crimes, with shootings, with everything. And it's a byproduct of not fucking policing ourselves the way that they did in the 60s or, the kids that are like, I consider myself a 70s kid. Basically, I was born in 68. You're probably a 70s kid.
Yep.
Because you were, 63, 64?
Yeah, 63, end of 63.
So more or less, your formidable years were the 70s. You're a 70s kid too.
Yep.
There was a way that things were handled. People in the 70s were dealing with a lot more shit than these kids are today. These kids are fucking killing themselves because somebody called them fat. The kids that were your age, and correct me if my math is a little bit off on this. You might have been a little young for this, but the kids that were 17, 18 years old in the 70s, they were out marching and dealing with the fact that they might be sent somewhere over to fight and die.
Yeah.
They were being drafted to be killed, to be fucking gun fodder. That's what they were fighting. So, and they weren't killing themselves at the rate that the kids are today because somebody called them fat or faggot. It's like, holy fuck. If you can't look at that and see that there's a problem with what we've raised, then you're part of the problem. No?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, it all boils down to, people who choose to have children, raising that child from the cradle to adulthood. And you can't just pump out a kid and throw him out into society and said, well, everybody around here, you guys need to treat my kid. And it all started with baby on board. Mm-hmm. You see those signs in the back of the minivan, baby on board.
Right.
It's like, so what are you telling me? I have to be more careful around your minivan than I do anywhere else?
Yeah. What makes you more special than any other place that I would drive?
Yeah.
Being around you, it's stupid. It is. It's ridiculous. And, there's a million examples of it. But, dude, tell me when you're in a store, and I know I can't speak on this because I don't go to stores anymore, but when you go to a store, whatever the store would be, and you see a kid acting like a shithead and the parent not doing anything about it, tell me your first thought is that kid's going to be fucked up. Yes?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell a personal story.
All right.
This was over Thanksgiving a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my nephew has a couple of young kids, got a daughter and a son. I think they're like 10 and 12 or something like that. Yeah. And we were standing outside, my sisters and brother-in-laws and stuff. We were outside deep what do you call that?
Deep frying a turkey?
Yeah, deep frying a turkey. We were out there just kind of having some drinks and deep frying a turkey and just kind of hanging out and cutting up and stuff. Well, those two kids were out there throwing rocks at each other.
Okay.
They were in the driveway and picking up rocks, and they were throwing rocks at each other.
Okay.
And I saw what they were doing, and I turned, and their dad, not that he's not a good father, because he really is, but he wasn't really paying attention to what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And I turned around and I saw them winging rocks at each other, and I go, "Hey, knock it off!"
Right.
And they both looked at me like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah.
And they went in and told their mom that
you yelled at them.
Uncle Wendell is mad at us. And he says, "Well, what did you do?" And he said, "Well, we were out there throwing rocks." He goes, "Well, he should have been mad at you."
Yeah.
And both of those kids, they walked around like on eggshells around me the rest of the day.
Yeah, because they don't know no better.
But the thing is that someone with authority or showed strength and authority and called them on what they were doing. They were just like, "Whoop, straighten up."
Yeah. Dude, there were things when you were a kid, at least, let me pull back. There were things when I was a kid that I assume everybody went through that you just knew that you did not fucking do around your parents.
Yeah.
You just didn't do it. Like, I'll tell this story. I think I may have told this years ago on the show, but believe it or not, considering I am the fuck you man, swearing was a huge deal in my house.
Yeah, that was a
huge deal.
That was a big no-no in my house.
And you did not swear around my dad. Oh boy, no. You didn't do it to my mom, but you definitely didn't do it around my dad. And there was one time I was 9 years old. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I had it in my head that I was going to be allowed to say the word damn now. I don't know what it was, if I'd heard it in a song or whatever, and I started inching toward it by using it in the song and not getting in trouble with my mom or something like it. It was something like that. I don't remember the exact circumstance.
Right.
But somehow I got it in my head that I could now say the word damn. And I remember distinctly, I went out to play that day because that's what we all used to do. I go out to play. I'm out riding my bike, and every one of my friends, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, damn it?" Or whatever. I'm saying damn in whatever way I could say it to whoever. And sure as shit, some mother called my house, and my dad answered the phone. And she told my dad that I said the word damn. And I remember hearing my dad from down the street yelling my name. "Christopher, get your ass here," or "get your butt," because he wouldn't swear.
Yeah.
He was like, "Get your butt home now." And I'm like, oh no, what's the problem here? And so I go home, and my dad takes me in the bedroom, and he's like, "What did you say when you were riding around on your bike?" And I was like, "I didn't say anything, Dad, just lying my ass off."
Of course.
I knew what he wanted. I knew what he wanted me to admit to, and I wasn't going to do it. And he was like, "Well, Mrs. Garris said that you said this word. Did you say it?" And I said, "No, Dad, I didn't say that. She must have heard me wrong, whatever." And he was like, "Do I have to go and ask every kid on this street what you said? Because if I do, and they tell me different, it's going to be a big problem.
Right.
And I was like, okay, Dad. I said, damn.
Right.
And I said it face to face to him, and he gave me a whack. It was one of only 2 times the man ever hit me. But he open hand slapped me, and I like turned, and he gave me a slap on my like shoulder blade.
Yeah.
Knocked me the fuck down, and left a fucking bruise of his hand on my fucking shoulder because he was so mad. My mom came running in. Bill, what are you doing? You know, blah, blah, blah. So she heard the crack.
Yeah.
You know, she heard his hand crack me. And, you know, and he left. And I'll tell you what I learned. I didn't say another bad word in that house.
Nope.
I mean, I don't think I swore ever until I went to the military in the house. Now, the minute I left the house, I was a swearing machine.
Right.
But in my mom's house, in my dad's house, there was no swearing going on.
Well, it's still the same way. When I go visit my dad, I certainly wouldn't drop any swear words around my dad.
Yeah. I turn it off around my mom.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a problem with my daughter because my daughter says fuck a lot. And she doesn't turn it off when she's at my mom's. And you know, I'm still uncomfortable with that. And personally, it's like, no, you can't swear around her.
Right, exactly.
Oh, you can't do that. You know, that's my mom. That's your grandma.
Yeah, of course.
Not Martha Davis. That's your real grandma.
Well, I think I may have told this story on the show, but the first time I ever used a swear word, I remember this was like 1974 or 75, and I used a swear word. I didn't know it was a swear word. It just sounded cool.
Right.
But I had a friend, his name was Mark Jones, and he was in my class, and his grandparents lived down the street from me, and he would often visit his grandparents because they had a farm. Okay. And so I would go down there, and we would run around and, you know, play in the barn and, you know, stuff like that. Well, his grandpa used a lot of curse words all the time. And I remember distinctly, like this happened yesterday. He was working on a lawnmower. He had a riding lawnmower, and the belt that runs the blades on the cutting deck had broke. Okay. And so he went to get a new belt, and he was trying to get it to go on there, and he was struggling with it because he couldn't get it to go over the pulleys. And he kept saying, I can't get this son of a bitch to go on there. He said, son of a bitch, you know, he kept saying, son of a bitch. And so later, either it was later that day or maybe the next day, I was at home, and I had my oldest sister. She was home from college. Right. And I had this craft kit of some kind, and I was sitting at the table working on this craft kit, and she came over and she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm working on this craft kit, and I was trying to get this piece to go together with this other piece. I said, but I can't get this son of a bitch to fit together. And she just looked at me, just like, what did you say?
What in the world?
And I was just like, and she goes, don't ever say that ever again. You know, don't, she goes, I won't say anything to mom or dad, but don't ever say that again.
And you're still holding on to it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the point.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
That's the point. You know, that always surprises me, like, when I hear stories about today, or when you see videos of the kids, like, fighting the teachers and stuff. Can you imagine raising up to a teacher back then? You would have got clobbered.
Yeah, that never happened. Never.
I don't ever remember seeing that happen. You know, I mean, honestly, I honestly believe that if we would have tried it in my school, the teachers would have beat our ass. I really believe the teacher would have absolutely punched me in the face if I ever raised up on any of them.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, there was a certain amount of fear, and that was okay. I mean, it didn't feel okay at the time, maybe, but fucking A.
Well, that's what keeps you in line.
Yeah, well, you knew your place.
Yeah.
And at that point, that was your place, was, you know, your place was to, you know, deal with that kind of shit, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's just crazy, man. Now it's like such a bunch of pussies.
Well, since you brought up raising up on the teacher,
Yeah.
here's a good one for you.
All right.
A Ball State University professor called the police on a black student who refused to switch seats. Now the professor won't be teaching for the rest of the semester.
God, what world is this that we're in, dude? Come on.
A professor at Ball State University called the police on a black student, Sultan Benson, in January for refusing to change seats in his class. When the police arrived, students came to Benson's defense. Benson agreed to leave the classroom.
Wait a minute. Everything about this story is wrong. So the teacher said move.
Yeah, the teacher asked the student to change seats.
And the kid said no.
Yes.
And they had to call the police?
Well, the professor called the police.
Can you imagine? I think about it. We had this history teacher, and I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was like an old, crotchety old guy. If I would have told this fucking guy no, I swear to God, he would have come over and punched me in the fucking face.
Yeah.
He would have been like, "What did you say to me?" Boom. Fucking knocked me on my ass and then picked me up by my hair and dragged me back to the seat he wanted me to sit in.
Exactly.
That's now they call the police.
Yeah.
And they don't see that's why the kids are so fucked up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, I'm going to go back to an 80s movie. It's probably one of the most popular 80s movies is The Breakfast Club.
Sure.
I mean, you know, you saw that the confrontation that John Bender, what's his real name in real life?
You know what? Somebody's going to post in the chat room and I'm going to be like, oh, fuck yeah. Because he's like sort of famous.
Yeah, I mean, he was on Suddenly Susan. He was her boss on Suddenly Susan. What's his name?
It is Judd Nelson.
Yeah, Judd Nelson. Judd Nelson, you know, was, you know, raising up on that principal, that Mr. Werner, you know, and they were going back and forth. He goes, "You want me to yank you out of that chair?"
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what they would have done.
Yeah. But getting back to the whole back and forth with the name calling and stuff, you know, there was a couple of times, you know, in that movie where that John Bender, Judd Nelson, would say to Molly Ringwald, "Hey, Cherry," you know, called her Cherry and called her, you know, he was calling her virgin and all kinds of stuff. Right. And he was calling Michael Anthony Hall a dweeby and, you know, you're a maxi zoom dweeby. What else would you be doing unless you were going out making yourself a better citizen, you know? You're a parent's wet dream. I'm going to go kill myself.
Yeah.
But he was in there because he tried to kill himself with a flare gun.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't stand the thought of getting a B on one of his classes.
He would have made a great millennial.
Exactly. But he was kind of a pussy.
Yeah.
He played the pussy weakling.
Mm-hmm. And isn't part of the moral to the story is that they toughened him up?
Yeah, they did. It's just like, yeah.
He turned into a decent person, like a regular human being, because they toughened him up in the one fucking detention he had to sit through.
Exactly. But they were throwing names back and forth at each other all the time, you know, fucking burnout, you know, all kinds of shit like that. And nobody was off, "Oh, I'm going to go kill myself. Where's my safe space?"
Well, look at the message. The message of the Breakfast Club would not fly now. The message, that message right there of you're a pussy and you take an ass beating, you know, whether it's verbal or an actual ass beating, and therefore you toughen up and you become a better person.
Yeah.
That's the message. That movie should be thrown out now. They better pull it off of Netflix immediately.
And then Emilio Estevez, you know, he was the athletic guy, and you know, he's telling Judd Nelson. He goes, "You know, if we weren't in class right now, I'd waste you, man." Yeah.
Well, just think if they redid that movie now, Judd Nelson would be replaced by a black transgender woman. You know, and Molly Ringwald would, you know, be a black girl or a Spanish girl.
Yeah, Hispanic, yeah.
You know,
and she would be a Latinx.
Yeah, and she wouldn't take any sass from anybody. You know, and the hero would be the Anthony Michael Hall character, which would be another tranny, you know, be a transgender male, you know, who's having a difficult time because his parents haven't accepted his choice of sexuality.
Yeah.
It would be all, just think about how horrible that would be if they rewrote the Breakfast Club now. It would be absolutely terrible.
It would.
And they would eliminate the character that smokes and burns herself and stuff completely. Because we can't have that. What was her name? I can't remember her name in the show. The one that wore all the black.
Ally Sheedy.
Ally Sheedy, yeah. Yeah, Ally Sheedy would be a lesbian. Good point, Skippy. Good point. Ally Sheedy would absolutely be a lesbian.
Yep.
A troubled lesbian.
Yeah, troubled lesbian.
But the trouble would be that people don't accept her for who she is.
Right.
Not that she's fucked up. The rest of the world would be fucked up, and she's just reacting to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we should write it. The new Breakfast Club. We could get a Netflix deal, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could get some of that Obama money because it fits within that agenda.
Exactly. The Millennial Breakfast Club.
Exactly.
4 sissies. 4 sissies, and the principal would come in and go, now, please, you guys, don't do anything bad.
Yeah.
It's not my choice to make you sit here. You know, unfortunately, you have to sit here, but please play with your phones and do whatever. And that would be what they do. Instead of actually thinking about what they did like they do in the Breakfast Club, they would just sit there on their iPads and play video games and, you know, hang out.
It's not my choice to have you here, but it's your choice to decide what gender you are today.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to sit here and play video games, and we'll, when we do talk to each other, we'll talk about how we wish that we were in a communist nation instead of living here in this fucking awful place.
Right.
Full of all these demon white people. I like it. The new Breakfast Club.
Yeah. We could probably sell that.
We probably could.
Yeah, here's my storyboard.
If we wrote it half seriously, it would shock me none if we would get some love on it.
Yeah. It'd be some shock and outrage.
Wouldn't that be something? If our claim to fame became that we wrote the fucking fag version of the Breakfast Club.
Right. Too funny.
Great.
All right, getting back to the story.
Yeah.
A professor at Ball State University who called police on a black student will not return to teach for the rest of the semester. Sheehan Borna, a Ball State marketing professor who joined the faculty in 1983.
Oh, boy.
So he's almost been at it for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Came under fire in January when he called a police on a college senior, Sultan Mufasa Benson.
Wait a minute. They named their kid after the fucking character in The Lion King?
Apparently so.
And they wonder why the kid's fucked up.
Yes.
He's named after Mufasa.
Mufasa.
The dead lion.
Yes.
Nice work, stupid.
Yep.
Couldn't even name your kid Simba, could you? You had to go with the dead one. Nice work.
For refusing to change seats during class. Dr. Borna will not be teaching classes for the remainder of the semester, Kathy Wolf, a spokesperson for Ball State, said in a statement to The Insider. This decision is in the best interest of Dr. Borna and the university. According to the Ball State Daily News, on January 21st, Benson was directed to sit in an open seat rather than his typical spot in Borna's marketing class. During class, a student sitting near the front of the room left, so Borna requested Benson to move to that seat. Benson refused because he was charging his laptop. So Borna gave him the ultimatum to move seats or leave the class. When he refused, the professor called the police.
So this kid literally said, I'm not moving because I'm charging my laptop.
Yeah, I'm charging my laptop. He says, well, either you move or leave the class. And he goes, I'm not doing either. I'm sitting right here.
And you can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Calling the police.
911. Yeah, I'd like to report a kid that won't change seats. Can you imagine what the police blotter sounds like these days? I would love to just get some police recordings of this kind of shit. How do you even call the police and not be ashamed of yourself for calling it in? Yeah, hi, this is what's his name?
His name is Mr. Borna.
Yeah, hi, this is Mr. Borna over at the high school or at the college. I have a student that won't switch desks. Need immediate assistance. Police would be like, what? I'm sure I can't fathom that when they called the police weren't like, are you serious?
Well, is it he won't switch seats or he won't leave the class?
Whatever it is, how are you calling the police about this? This is a fucking issue that any teacher should be able to handle.
Yeah, but again, this is a white teacher, a black student who refuses to, do as instructed. So
is correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but I know my kid's school, has a principal. So why is there no call to the principal to get in there? Good point, PC. They should have called the Black Emergency Response Team.
They probably should have.
Probably should have, but there's got to be a principal, right? Or an assistant principal?
Well, either an administrator.
Some sort of high-ranked person at the school.
Yeah, administrator of some kind, yeah.
And most schools, or I think most schools, have like the DARE officer now, like a cop.
Yeah, well, it would be like the dean of students or something like that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the schools, like my kid's school had what they called the DARE officer, which was an actual cop.
Yeah, it was the drug enforcement guy.
Yeah, but he was a cop.
Yeah.
They could call the police, the cop that worked at the school to come in and fucking handle this shit. What the fuck kind of nonsense is this? I'm going to call out to the police and we're going to take a cop off the street to come help you rearrange the seats? Get the fuck out of here with this shit. Ridiculous.
The incident was caught on video, and Benson's classmates can be heard defending him when the police arrived.
Of course they did. Bunch of fucking pussies that are raised to fucking get their way no matter what.
Yeah. Some staff and students were upset by the actions of the professor and staged a walkout a few weeks later.
The staff were?
No, it says some staff and students were upset.
Staff?
Yeah, the staff.
Fellow teachers felt he was wrong.
Yeah. We're in solidarity with you students. We're walking out with you.
Get the fuck out.
Well, this is what happens.
Jesus.
Benson,
don't want these problems in my classroom, so I better go along with it.
Right.
Oh, brother.
Benson told his college paper that he was afraid when police were called. Now here's the whole false narrative. This is what social media, MSNBC, CNN, all these fake news outlets trump up this agenda here. Now listen to this.
Okay.
Benson told his college paper that he was afraid when police were called because he is a large black man from Chicago.
So?
I'm from the south side of Chicago. I wasn't supposed to make it to college, if I'm being honest, he told the paper. I made it to the college, and I got the police called on me for being in the classroom.
Okay, Jussie Jr.
You don't know what's going to happen in that 20 seconds. If I hadn't kept my composure, I could have been riddled with bullets, tased, beat down, and handcuffed. There's no telling.
You know how else you could have avoided that? By getting up and moving! Shit, are you kidding me? All he had to do was unplug his laptop and he wouldn't have had any worry about getting bullets in him.
I'm not going to do what the white man tells me.
Then don't come to school.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but see, this is the world we live in, that when you are a person of color, which I know Jericho Green hates that, but the thing is if you follow the rules and do like you're asked and just be a normal person, none of this would be an issue. None of this.
And the request wasn't outrageous. I understand if you stand up to an outrageous request. You know, if the teacher comes up and says, either move or set yourself on fire, okay. I can understand that you don't choose that. I can understand maybe making a stand at that point to say, nah, I'm not going to do that. But this is ridiculous.
It is.
This is like pretending that you're afraid of being shot, then fucking move.
Yeah, like the police are going to break in there like the black...
the black emergency response team.
With their guns drawn, ready to riddle you with bullets.
Yeah. It'll be the white emergency response team, ready for action.
So I just want to read that again. This is the perception again.
All right.
I'm from the south side of Chicago. I wasn't supposed to make it to college, if I'm being honest. I made it to college, and I got the police called on me for being in the classroom. You didn't get called for being in the classroom.
Yeah.
Got called because you weren't complying with the request that was made of you.
Yeah, you weren't following the rules of the class.
Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen in that 20 seconds. If I hadn't kept my composure, I could have been riddled with bullets, tased, beat down, handcuffed. There's no telling.
Yeah, there's no telling. You know what? Same could be said if you would have just got up and moved.
Yeah.
In fact, if you would have gotten up and just moved, you would have had no fear of being shot, tased, wounded, all this other bullshit that you're saying. Fuck you with your South Side of Chicago shit. How about this? If you don't want to be treated like a fucking asshole from the South Side of Chicago, don't act like one.
Yeah, act like a civil human being and just do like you're asked.
Yeah, exactly. I would imagine there's more people that get killed on the South Side of Chicago, not by cops. The people that are shooting each other up in the South Side are fucking each other, not the police. Police are afraid to shoot anybody now.
Yeah.
Last thing a cop wants these days is to shoot a black guy.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic here. That is the last thing a cop wants to get on their watch now, shooting a black guy for any reason. So fuck you, you crybaby bitch.
The dean of the Miller College of Business, in consultation with the provost, made this decision to ensure that we provide continuity in the curriculum, eliminate any unnecessary distractions, and help our students complete the appropriate course expectations, Wolf's statement said. Borna sent an email of
apology
to Benson after the incident.
I'm so sorry that I asked you to move in class.
Yeah.
Next time I won't do that again. I'll make sure that you sit wherever you want there, pumpkin.
Right.
Whatever you need, sweetheart. We'll make sure that you're nice and comfortable.
Right, of course.
Ugh.
As a professor at Ball State, it is my responsibility to ensure that you and all of my students receive an excellent education experience, he said in the email, according to Ball State Daily News. I am sorry that my actions today did not contribute to that.
And going forward, we're now only going to have e-courses.
Right.
Because that way you can sit wherever you'd like.
Sure.
The class will be held. You just log in and you can hear me speak.
Exactly.
That's honestly what we're coming to now.
Of course.
You know, and honestly, we should then lower the fucking cost of college because everybody can just do it online. But fuck, you know, this is a ridiculous story.
I agree.
Sure this isn't The Onion?
No, this is not The Onion.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Not like a spoof side of The Onion, The Funyun or something?
No, it is not.
This is ridiculous.
It is.
I hate people. I hate them. I hate this generation. I absolutely am disgusted that these are the fucking fruits that are going to run this country in like 15 years.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, speaking of schools that call the police.
Okay. Oh, there's more?
There's
Good.
more.
Good.
A Pennsylvania school called the police after a 6-year-old girl with Down syndrome pointed her finger like a gun.
Dude. Next story. Don't even read this story. I don't want to hear this. All right, go ahead.
A Pennsylvania family is pleading with their school board to reconsider its policy on threat assessments for students after their 6-year-old daughter with Down syndrome was reported to the police for pointing her finger like a gun.
We've called the retarded emergency response team for effort here.
That's funny because I titled this one called Bang Bang Retard.
Pow Pow Carrot. All right, that's mean.
Margot Gaines, a kindergartner at the Valley Forge Elementary School in Pennsylvania, made the gesture in November and told her teacher, "I shoot you," according to her mother, Maggie.
Holy crap. RERT were called in immediately to come and help, right? RERT, R-E-R-T. Short for retarded emergency response team, but almost sounds like retard.
Yes. RERT?
RERT.
It's like dragging a needle across a record. RERT.
The sound that dummy makes when she's pretending to screech a car to a stop. Carrot! Carrot! RERT! Potato!
Maggie said her daughter made the comment when her teacher asked her to do something she didn't want to do, but had no idea what the words of the gesture meant. I mean, imagine the utterance was not unlike the instance when I've told her it's time for bed, and she said, "I hate bed. I hate mommy," Maggie said in a statement last month to the school district. Maggie said that the teacher perceived the response as a threat.
I hate bed. I like carrot. It's my friend.
And she brought Margot to the principal, who realized that Margot was no danger to the teacher or her classmates. But instead of dropping the incident, the principal followed a school district policy requiring a threat assessment team.
All right, the principal just needs to just stop it at this point. Come on.
To be convened and decide whether disciplinary action was warranted.
All right, how are we going to police this tard? What? How does that meeting go? How is this meeting adjudicated to her?
Well, she pointed her finger and she said, "I shoot you," and she goes, "Death." Immediately, take her out back.
Yeah. Feed her pennies till she drops. She'll eat them.
Right. Maggie said in her statement she was fine with the process, which concluded that Margot did.
Right, tyrant. That's not her. How in the fuck did you find that photo?
Oh, my God. Wow. Our fans can find anything.
I'm telling you.
They can. Immediately, too.
What was the search for that? Retard with a gun? Honestly, Tyrant, type that in the chat room, please. What did you search to pull that picture up? I've got to know. I've got to know what you'll be arrested for, when they come to get you. All right, that's when I went downs on her. Come on.
Damn it.
Stop.
Jesus.
It's not very nice.
Our fans, I swear to God.
I think I'm the mean one. I think they're worse. He looked up Down syndrome with a gun.
Really? All right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right.
Maggie said in her statement that she was fine with the process, which concluded that Margot didn't intend to harm anyone, but then the school called the police. "I think most people would agree that this is where the issue should have ended, and yet it did not," she said. Maggie said the school official called the police department and provided authorities with Gaines' personal information as well as information on the incident. Maggie said in her statement that the officer told her the information would be entered into the department's database and would be publicly available.
Good Lord, are you kidding me?
Because the school staff and administrators chose to blindly follow this policy, an incident that resulted in no disciplinary action as part of her permanent school record.
So they're putting this on her record?
Yeah.
Do you think this will be the thing that prevents her from getting a good job?
Yeah, now she won't be able to work at the,
McDonald's.
at the McDonald's, or
She won't be able to retire from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Stop it.
What's more, her personal information has also been recorded at her local police department, where it is noted without any context to the situation or her disability that she threatened her teacher.
Oh, please.
How or if this information will be used against her in the future, I can't say for certain.
Mm-hmm.
The police department told the website Savvy Mainline that the incident report was filed containing Margot's name, address, age, and disability, but that it's not releasable and not a criminal record. The school district told the news media it would review its policy in the wake of the Gaines complaint. When developing the current practice, the district worked collaboratively with the parents, law enforcement, and private safety, mental health agencies, and legal. Jesus, look at all these people who are employed just to police everything.
PC, her job is not to be a stop sign. Stop. That's not nice. Not very PC either. Jeez.
So when developing the current practice, the district worked collaboratively with the parents, law enforcement, and private safety, mental health agencies, and legal consultants to ensure our safety measures reflected considerable input from both our local community and experts in the field of school safety.
Look at this nonsense Demon just posted in the chat room.
All right.
This is next book, Helping the Retarded to Know God. That looks like that's a real book.
That's a real book. That looks like Amazon. That's an Amazon post. Better than anticipated.
$175. I'd buy it just to read it on the air.
Right.
Sure, there's some good stuff in that book.
So there you go. Don't point your finger like a gun.
Yeah, pal. What the hell?
Everything is hypersensitive these days.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'd imagine we should be arrested for this fucking commentary. Holy cow.
All right, one more school-related story, and we'll take a break.
Okay.
A dad ran a sex cult out of his daughter Sarah's dorm.
Okay, right.
The father of a former student at New York's elite Sarah Lawrence College has been charged with starting a sex cult in his daughter's dorm room, eventually forcing one woman into prostitution, holding a knife to a male victim's throat until he confessed to a crime he didn't do.
Wow.
Lawrence Ray, 60, faces 9 federal charges, including sex trafficking, extortion, and forced labor for allegedly subjecting his victims to sexual and psychological manipulation and physical abuse, and laundering about $1 million from 5 different victims under the guise of self-help. This guy was enterprising.
No kidding.
How much time did he spend in his daughter's dorm room?
I don't know. Apparently more than a minute.
Apparently so. One of the victims identified in the indictment as female victim number 2 was present at his New Jersey residence at the time of his arrest. Beginning in 2010, prosecutors alleged Ray targeted a group of college students and others for indoctrination and criminal exploitation using fear, violence, and coercion to commit unspeakable abuse, said the Attorney General for New York District. Wow, this guy, how do you do that? How do you worm your way into a college dorm, of all things, and have that amount of... Now, aren't these kids at class? Aren't they, like, away from the dorm? How did this guy work so diligently to mold and shape and form these college co-eds to basically fall under his spell and do what he tells them to do.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I don't know, dude. Just I'm hardly paying attention.
I know. I'm watching all these pictures over here.
It's killing me.
I know.
I love the one Nathan from Kentucky just posted. Did you see that one?
Yes.
The chromosome in the bag. Oh my God. All right, there better not be Down syndrome fucking Pornhub. Stop it. Don't ruin my day. Please. All right, I'm going to try and pay. I'm going to get onto another page, so I'm not even looking at the chat room. Holy smokes.
If you're not angry, you don't have a soul, added William Sweeney, Jr., Assistant Director in charge of the FBI. Prosecutors allege that shortly after his release from a New Jersey prison in 2010, Ray moved into his daughter's on-campus housing at the private Westchester County University and began manipulating her friends, preaching about his personal philosophy and conducting therapy sessions, all while presenting himself as a father figure.
Jeez.
Wouldn't a college kind of question, your dad is living here? What is he doing?
Yeah. What is this 50-year-old guy doing on campus every day?
Yeah. That's bizarre.
Yeah, that is a little. It's interesting that nobody questioned his being on the campus every day.
No kidding. The alleged abuse later continued in his Manhattan apartment, North Carolina, and other locations. Wow, this guy was good.
This guy was a real therapist.
Yeah. During the therapy sessions, the 60-year-old learned intimate details about their private lives, vulnerabilities, and mental health struggles under the pretense of helping them. Ray alienated several of the victims from their parents and convinced several of the victims that they were broken and need fixing.
Tell me again about the first time you had sex. Tell me again. I'm just here to help.
Right.
Oh, God.
Do you remember the first time you slid your hand down in your panties? What was that like? Would you like someone else to slide their hand down your panties?
Take a moment and describe the smell.
To ensure his victim's silence, Ray allegedly extracted false confessions using sleep deprivation, psychological and sexual humiliation, verbal abuse, physical violence, and threats of legal action. Wow. Jeez. Ray ultimately extracted false confessions from at least 7 victims that they had intentionally damaged Ray's and his family's members and other associates' property. The indictment said, adding that other erroneous confessions included that they had poisoned Ray and his family members. The father, who had also allegedly took explicit photographs of some of the victims to ensure their silence, documented these false confessions with video recordings, doctored journal entries, and copies of emails. He also forced students to give him thousands of dollars, often making them drain their parents' bank account to ensure their loyalty.
What the hell? All right, the only way we can get you fixed is for you to suck my cock while I film it, and meanwhile, give me your mom's ATM and PIN number.
At least one of the college students also engaged in prostitution for 4 years to pay back the debts to Ray that she was manipulated into believing she owed him. She allegedly earned more than $500,000 for Ray. Gee whiz.
She must have sucked a good dick.
Yeah, $500,000.
$500,000 at $20 a hit.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Prosecutors also said that any of these students made a mistake or went against Ray's teachings, he would accuse them of sabotage, which often led to cruel physical and emotional punishment. After Ray falsely accused one male victim of damaging his property, he allegedly placed a knife to his throat until he confessed before grabbing another man's neck until he was unconscious. Wow, this guy ruled with an iron hand.
Yeah, no kidding.
He kept his pimp hand strong, as they used to say.
This guy should be teaching courses on how to fucking sell.
Yeah, he's a master manipulator.
He's a seller, man.
When two of the female students came home with cold food, Ray accused them of wrongdoing and grabbed one of the women by the face and the neck before shoving her to the floor. According to the authorities, on another occasion, Ray put a plastic bag over one of the victims' heads until she almost passed out.
This guy's like on the borderline of being a serial killer, and he just kept getting away with this shit?
Yeah.
Come on. Is this The Onion? Guess I have to ask that with every story now. They're all so fucking crazy.
It is. According to the incident, Ray coerced several victims, including the woman present at his arrest, into forced labor, silencing them by accusing them of intentionally damaging his New Jersey property and threatening to alert the authorities or Sarah Lawrence of the misdeeds detailed in their false confessions. Ray's alleged extortion and sex trafficking scheme was first detailed in New York Magazine Expose last April, which authorities said Tuesday prompted their investigation. While Ray was once a close friend of ex-New York Police Commissioner Bernie Kirk, he played a central role in the top cop's prosecution and previously acted as an FBI informant. I haven't spoken to Larry Ray in over 19 years. I only wish that the FBI and the Justice Department realized that what a con man he was prior to making him their superstar witness against me, Kirk told the Daily Beast. They were so adamant in destroying me and my family, they ignored his lies, deceit, and inconsistencies. Hopefully the indictment will be the end of his reign of terror on every friend he has conned, manipulated, or deceived. A spokesman for Sarah Lawrence College called the charges serious, wide-ranging, disturbing, and upsetting.
Well,
as well as the safety and well-being of our students and the alumni is the priority of the college, the statement said, adding that Sarah Lawrence previously conducted its own investigation last year, which did not substantiate those specific claims alleged in the indictment.
Did the school not notice the guy with the big purple jacket with the hat with the big feather coming out of it walking down the road here?
Yeah,
this guy sounds like a pimp.
Yeah, he kept his pimp hand strong. They called him Huggy Bear on Starsky and Hutch.
Huggy Bear.
Huggy Bear. Only he was Huggy Dad.
Yeah, Huggy Dad.
Huggy Dad.
Huggy Dad.
Look at that guy. Look at it. Holy shit.
No, is that a picture of Tyrant getting ready for his match?
I think so.
Is that what that is?
Jeez. All right. Got something in mind you like to hear?
How's about a good one? How about March into Fire by Forbidden?
Okay.
Old school.
Some Forbidden March into Fire.
Get some thrashy thrash going.
Forbidden March into Fire.
Sir.
All right, here we go. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back. Do some more stuff. So it's Forbidden exclusively here
on your classic metal show.